Warning: this video does contain rapidly strobing lights, especially in the drills section. Please take care if this is something that you know affects you negatively. Choosing a flashlight for combatives purposes is a very personal process, but there are some things to consider for each choice you're making. One of the first things is size. In general, you want a flashlight that's going to extend past your hand to make better strikes. After that, you want to make sure you have something that's going to help you grip the flashlight. In this case, I have a silicone wrapping, but it could easily be cordage or grip tape. You also want something to help you retain the flashlight. I like rings because it allows me to hold onto the flashlight, but also then get it out of the way in case I need to grasp or climb. Having something like bungee cord does work. That said, you're not going to be able to easily get the flashlight out of the way if you need your hand to do something else. This ring is a DIY of just a key ring wrapped in tape. It's not a very good ring to use for striking because of its movement, so in this case, I'm not using it for that purpose. That said, there are some ready-made rings that even come with spikes for the purpose of striking with the ring. You'll notice that this flashlight comes with a clip. Most do these days. I like deep carry pocket clips because it keeps my flashlight in line with the top of my pocket. This is just a personal preference for where I want it to set in my pocket for retrieval. Next is what I consider the most important aspect of a defensive flashlight, and that is an easily accessible switch with a momentary on feature. What this means is that with a slight depress of the switch, you have the light on, and with releasing that switch, you have it off. This is versus having to click the switch fully, and then releasing it means it's on, and then having to click it again to turn it off. Because the main power of a defensive flashlight is the disorienting flash, we want complete control over that flash. Having an accessible switch and momentary on allows us to switch between flashing and even manual strobe. This is important because we always want to know the status of our flashlight, and we never want to have to cycle through modes in order to get to the one we want. You also have to consider how much light the flashlight is going to throw. In this case, we want a very bright flash in order to disorient possible attackers, and we probably want some lows in order to use this flashlight daily for other tasks. In this case, this flashlight has a high mode and a medium mode. The problem is, it switches automatically between them during a manual strobe. This is problematic because the last thing I want my defensive flashlight to do is make itself less disorienting. Finally, a note on strike bezels. A strike bezel is that jagged edge you see around the head of the flashlight. This is very common and popular in many tactical flashlights. However, I'm not a big fan of a strike bezel. Even though they are designed to cause more damage when using this as an impact weapon, the problem is it really does look like a weapon, which means at some times you might have these taken away or at least notice that you were carrying a weapon. The other reason is more damage, especially from a sharp surface, means blood-borne pathogens. If instead I can use something that has a blunt edge, I can take this anywhere, including on planes, and if I do end up using this as an impact weapon, I am less likely to have to deal with somebody else's body fluids. Okay, in moving into the drills, be sure to practice with all your available limbs for every single drill. Even though the demonstration is showing just one side, it's important to use all your tools. That does include protective equipment like gloves if you expect to use them when you are carrying your defensive flashlight. Concepts are always going to be more important than drills. The purpose of this video is to help you get started in manipulating your light and applying it to different situations. For these first two drills, movement is the name of the game. In this version, you're trying to isolate the position of the light while making a sidestepping motion out of the direct line of the beam. The second one is working on a quick flash and then a sprint takeoff in any direction. Be sure to work up to this slowly, and as you get more comfortable, try it at different speeds and different directions. The grab preparation works best with a retainment ring or other similar retainment. First, you're practicing getting light out of the hand, reaching forward, and then grabbing. Once you feel good about this, what you'll do is you'll add the flash, and then the reach and grab. Using the light for strikes is why you want a light that's going to extend past your hand. One of the most common strikes with a flashlight is a forward jab. In this version, the practice is flash, jab, flash. Another basic strike with flashlights is a hammer fist hook. In this version, you're still working a flash, strike, flash. For strikes with the light, feel free to simulate different points of impact, such as face, neck, and body. A bright flashlight can be used in tandem with movements you already know. To get started, turn on the light and then execute a strike, block, or cover of your choice. As you gain confidence manipulating your light, you might try to execute the flash and your motion simultaneously. Depending on the capabilities of your light, you might be able to implement manual strobe. This is done by quickly pressing and releasing the switch and can be extra disorienting. The final things in this video will be some of my go-to drills. Remember, the practice is about manipulating the light and practicing your strikes, more so than expecting yourself to execute everything perfectly if the time comes. That said, the more you practice, the easier it's going to be to do exactly what you want to do when you have to do it. Final reminder, be sure to try all variations with all limbs and explore your personal movements so that you feel comfortable having some go-tos of your own.